question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, what is going on? We are live on a Wednesday evening. It is May 13th, 2026. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 227 of The Throwdown, the community on the interwebs where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today we are throwing down with a wrestler based in New Jersey but trains in the Philadelphia area who has become an in-demand name, especially on the Northeast scene. He is also one half of the tag team state champs. My friends, welcome with me the one and only Sturdy Sal Mastretta. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for the great introduction, and thank you for having me on today. Excited to be here and talk with you.
Absolutely, man. I've been like I said before we went on the air, I've been looking forward to this one. And for those of you watching live, let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all, or at least most, of Sal's social media accounts along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't following or subscribed, please take the time and go to each of the platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And again, for the folks watching live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and kind of the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
Yeah. So I've been wrestling for just over 3 years now. I've been training for just about 4. Yeah, so yeah, it's been crazy. It's gone by fast. But yeah, just finished up 3 years in February, so still going.
Nice. Well, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it for the people that may not, and that is, who actually trained you?
Yeah. So I train at the Worldwide Wrestling Dojo in Bristol, Pennsylvania, where the old Ring of Honor dojo was before they moved to Maryland. Head trainer there is Cheeseburger. Also a gentleman by the name of Preacher that is a trainer there. So yeah, those are the people that train me. Very thankful to have great trainers, and yeah, helped me so much. So far, I can't recommend the Worldwide Dojo enough for sure.
Absolutely, man. So, in the early stages of your wrestling training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to kind of wrap your mind and body around?
Yeah. So I think for me, I come from like a football like athletic background. So, I was always a strong kid, and I was always like, pretty quick and fast. And I think the difference of like being able to just lift a lot of weight, like bench press or squat, and the difference in hold and control your own body is so different. So I think that was a big thing for me that I had to learn, and the dojo is great because the first month, like you don't even get in the ring, or first month, maybe sometimes a couple, like 2 weeks, 2 weeks to a month, you don't even get in the ring. You're just doing kind of body weight, body control circuits on the outside, and just to make sure that you could support yourself and control your body in the ring before you get in there. So I think physically that was definitely the hardest part. Is kind of more the calisthenics of it, and being able to control and not just like I said, I was always a strong kid, but it's a kind of a different strength than just like a football strength. And then I think also for me is like I don't come from a performance or like acting background either, and I
Hmm.
think for some people, I found like I mean, this like I just mentioned this, but I found like the athletic stuff, that comes with whatever the roles and things like that. Like I'll learn that pretty quick. But the performance aspect of it and being able to kind of open up and break out of my shell and become a performer, and I think that was something like that I struggled with in the beginning for sure. Um, and yeah, they were great with helping me do that and different tactics to try to do that. So yeah, I would say those are the kind of the things that I struggled with.
Right, right. Well, I wrestled 1 year in high school, and then, later in life, for a few years, I trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, awesome.
So much of those type of, I've never done professional wrestling training,
Mhm.
but so much of the grappling
Yeah.
is really about body mechanics and spatial awareness, and
Yes.
and I'm sure it's the same thing in professional wrestling,
Yeah, and I think
because
go ahead. Yeah, I think
go
for
ahead.
sure. Yeah, it's like that aspect of it, and I want like the cardio aspect of it too. Is like football is like
Yes.
short little sprints of like yeah, I get a 20-second break in between each play, and then it's like wrestling. You got someone trying to take you down the entire time. Like you got to be constantly on it,
Right.
and jujitsu the same thing. Like someone's trying to get you in
Yep.
something the whole time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely it was those things are definitely like great kind of backgrounds to have. I think for this, and yeah, that was an adjustment for me as well, like the cardio aspect and being able to figure that out like for a longer distance than just like short
Oh
little
yeah.
sprints.
Yeah. I still maintain there is no better full body workout than rolling rounds of jujitsu with somebody. I mean,
Mhm.
good lord.
Yeah, yeah,
And at the time I was doing it, I was usually both the oldest and the smallest person in my class. So, especially early on, I had to play a very mobile game because if I let some of these bigger guys get on top of me, especially in the early days, I was done.
yeah,
you know,
yeah. No, I
so
get it. I get it.
so. So you mentioned you've got a football background. What position or positions did you play?
Yeah. So I played linebacker, and I actually played like offensive guard in high school, and I played both ways. And then when I got to college, I played Division 3 football at King's College, a small school up in Pennsylvania. Just played linebacker, so that's that's my background. I was always hitting people, so that's kind of the thing. I never got to. I scored one touchdown in my career, so that was cool. But that
Hey,
besides
that's
that, I was
very
I was there
cool.
to move bodies and make tackles, not not carry the ball.
Right, right. I'm going by a memory here, and this may not be accurate, but you said you went to King's College.
Yes,
That's a Christian college, isn't it?
correct. Yep, yep. Catholic college. It's a sister school of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I actually went to college up on top of Lookout Mountain, Georgia. Up in the closest city was actually Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
But it was a small Christian college,
Yeah.
and that there's a lot to be said for a Christian education.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And I think I was in public schools like my whole like childhood and everything like
I
that.
was too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was just like college. They asked me to play football. I said, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely different. Um, and yeah, like you said, there's something to be said. And it's such a small school that it was good for me because I wouldn't be able to survive going to a big lecture hall like and the teacher doesn't
Right.
even know if I'm there or not. I just wouldn't have gone. So I needed
Yeah.
those small classes and things like that to keep me on track, at least with the academics.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I mentioned in the introduction, you're in a tag team, state champs with David Moses.
Yes.
How did that come about? How did you guys end up as a tag team, and sort of tell us the story of how that came to be?
Yeah, so David actually is also trained by Cheese at the dojo. He started a couple months before me. Um, and we have very similar styles in what we like in wrestling and things that we gravitated towards. Um,
Hmm.
so, we always kind of, I think at first it was like Cheese would just like put us together because we both wore singlets on like his YouTube show or whatever. So, but we ended up like fighting each other a lot, like wrestling each other so many times. Like it didn't even matter if it was at the dojo. Like we would just go to random places, show up for a ring crew,
Hmm.
and they'd be like, "All right, we'll throw you two in a match," and it just be me and David again. So we had like so many matches of just us beating the crap out of each other, and eventually one day Power Pro Lucha's coming along, and you know they got all this kind of hype and people coming in and some big names on it, and we wanted to get in. And we're like, um they came to the idea like, yo, what, you guys ever think of teaming? And we're like, yeah, we've thought about it before and we've talked about it, but let's put it in motion. And yeah, that's kind of how it happened, and kind of grew organically from there. And like, David's like my friend outside of wrestling. Like I met him through the dojo, but like we've become good friends, and it's easy to work with him and bounce things off him, and it's been awesome for both of us, I think. So yeah.
Right, right. Seeing what I've seen, I almost kind of get a Steiner Brothers vibe from it.
Yeah.
And I mean, as a teenager and young adult, man, I used to love watching the Steiners, and it is so cool seeing Braun out there.
Oh, it's
The
crazy.
the son and nephew of the Steiners, man.
Hmm.
Man, he is a scary physical specimen. Good
I mean,
lord.
yeah, the
Could
spears that
could
he
could you
does.
imagine? Could you imagine taking that spear?
No, no, that's why
Oh,
I do it to people. I do my own. I'm like, I'm good. I'm not taking that. But yeah, it's
yeah.
it's crazy. And yeah, like the Steiners are definitely like something that we kind of pulled from. And there's a team up here that was in Jakarta called the Throwbacks that we
Hmm.
also took a lot of inspiration from. Um, and then yeah, and then there's a bunch of stuff that like that's kind of how we got the ball rolling. And then I think from there we've just kind of making it our own thing and coming up with stuff. And yeah, it's been cool. But yeah, for sure the Steiners have been uh
Oh
like
yeah.
I remember one time Cheese was like, you gotta, or yeah, Cheese was like, you gotta stop doing the Steiner brother pose. It was like in your entrance. I'm like, all right, my bad. I didn't even realize we were doing it. It was just like second nature.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so but yeah, we definitely take some inspiration for them. And as you'll come to know, I'm a big Scott Steiner guy. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that guy he is so freaking entertaining. I mean,
I think he's like the funniest wrestler like
yeah.
out there. Like especially those TNA days when I was like
Oh
watching.
yeah.
I was like, this guy
Yeah.
is just. I'm going back and watching now. I'm like, this guy is just hilarious. Like I don't
Yeah.
even think. Yeah, it was so good. But
So, I'm presuming, because this has been the answer on the huge majority of people I've had on the show, but I'm presuming you've been at least a fan of professional wrestling the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
yeah, I would say so. I think as a kid is when I kind of got into it. Just WWE stuff, and then I
Right.
think like 2010 ish. Um, it became not cool to watch wrestling anymore, so I stopped.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I got back into it and found like kind of the New Japans and the Ring of Honors and the indie that led me to indie stuff. So yeah, and obviously still WWE was there, obviously. So yeah, definitely been a fan probably for at least half of my life. There's probably like a 10-year break in there, maybe even less, like 7 years where I wasn't. Um,
Right.
but then yeah, senior year of high school, I kind of started getting back into it, and yeah, from there, been
Yeah.
fully back in, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like I was telling you before we went on the show, I'm in my mid 50s, and I've been a fan since I was around 11.
Hmm.
So I've been following the business for 40 plus years. So I kind of grew up in the territory days. Got
That's
to
awesome.
see the Monday Night Wars start to finish as it happened, rise and fall of ECW.
Hmm.
I've been blessed to have lived through a really cool span of time and have gotten to see some things, as they happened rather than retrospectively. So it's
Yeah.
been really cool. But what was your earliest wrestling related memory?
So I was actually just telling someone this. The first match that I ever remember watching, I don't know what happened in the match. I don't remember anything about the match except that it was a random SmackDown on like a Friday, and my dad put it on or whatever. And it was like Big Daddy V and Mark Henry were in a handicap match against The Undertaker. And I was like, this is insane. I think The Undertaker won, actually. I do think I remember that. And I was like, this is insane. So that was like the first memory that I had. And then, Undertaker kind of I gravitated towards him as a kid a lot. I think
Oh yeah.
just because I thought he was cool and he had the dong and the yeah. I didn't end up being a 6'8", 6'9", athletics freak, but yeah, and I think that's kind of the first memory that I have of wrestling, and it was like right before Mania, and I think it might have been Mania like 23, I think it was. So
Hmm.
that's kind of the first Mania I remember. The first Mania, I didn't watch it. My dad didn't get it, but I remember the next year we got it, and it was 24. So that was the first Mania that I watched. Yeah, so those are kind of my early memories of wrestling, and then after that, just like getting the video games and playing as all the guys, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you were mentioning how for a few years there you kind of checked out because it
Yeah,
wasn't cool and everything.
yeah,
And that's the beauty of professional wrestling. As your fandom ebbs and flows, it's still always going to be there for you.
for sure.
Because there was a span of time that actually around the same time you mentioned that I got busy with other stuff because my son was pretty young at the time.
Hmm.
So for about 6 years there, probably 2010 to 2016, 2017, I was largely out of it. I was still kind of reading the dirt sheets and sort of following what was going on.
Hmm.
But right about then, I started hearing about this guy Kenny Omega over in
Yeah.
Japan, and
Okay.
and we had Access TV, so I knew we got New Japan, so I started watching that. And Kenny kind of just pulled me back in, and about that point, I started watching everything again. So
Yeah, no,
uh,
I mean, it's kind of, that was like they said, like the same time span for me. Like, I missed the punk stuff, like all that stuff. I
yeah,
went back and watched, obviously, but I missed all that. And then I think it was like AJ came back or debuted at the Rumble, but I don't know if it was 2016 or 2017. But, and then I was like, oh, I remember him. Like, he was my favorite, like in TNA or
oh
whatever.
yeah,
And so, yeah, then I kind of, they were talking about his New Japan stuff and everything like that. So that's kind of how I got put on to like guys like Kenny and guys like, Okada. And then I went back and watched some old Ring of Honor stuff. And I was like, oh,
oh
like
yeah.
Homicide, Nigel, Danielson, like Daniel Bryan before, so
Yep.
Samoa Joe and all those guys. So, yeah, it was kind of like once you like open the floodgates, yeah, it was just like there was
Oh yeah.
so much new stuff that I could watch and take in. So
Right, right. So, what was the first live show you attended as a fan?
um the first live show, and I think the only live show I attended like as a child was I think it was like the first ever Hell in a Cell in Newark. I think they had it in Newark, New
Oh,
Jersey.
cool.
um I don't remember anything about it. I can't remember that, but
Mm,
that was the first one, and then that was like the only other one I've been to, but besides, um, yeah, the only other one I've been to is Mania, the last one day Mania, at the Meadowlands up here, in New York, New Jersey, and that was a long day. But yeah, I did actually did Takeover the night before, and then uh, we also did Mania the night after. So yeah, it was really cool. But yeah, those are the first one was at Hell in a Cell, and I was trying to remember the other day who it was on it, but I can't remember. But I'm sure Undertaker was on it somewhere and things like that. But yeah.
Gotcha. So, obviously the physical side of this is all extremely important. So tell us a little bit about your gym routine, and in your mind, what would you say is the most crucial exercise or group of exercises for you to keep in ring shape with?
Yeah, I think for me, I I am a part of Caesar Gang, as he likes to call it. So Caesar Benoni helps me out and has a program for me. Um, so yeah, I think that's been so helpful for me. Is I've always kind of needed a structure to work out. Like even when I stopped playing football and things like that, um, I kind of didn't go to the gym because I was like, what do I need to go to the gym for? I didn't just want to or when I went, I didn't really know what to do, and then it would be like feel like a waste. So having that structure has kind of helped me out a lot. And I think for me, like the most important thing is, as I mentioned before, it was like, I've always been a stronger like kid, so I've never really had issues with that. But the cardio and making sure that because I want to be one of those guys that could do it, go as ever long as they need to go in the ring. You know what I mean, and have those big main event style matches that you saw Kenny have in New Japan and things like that. So
Yep.
that's something for me that I don't enjoy, but it's something that is definitely a big for me. And then there's always arms. It always never hurts to do arms
Right.
for any reason, even outside of wrestling. But yeah, that
Right.
I would say the cardio for sure is definitely the most important aspect of it. I'm not someone that needed to like build size or anything like that. Like sometimes people come in skinny and they want to put on weight and things like that. So for me, it was more about leaning out, and that's another big part of that is the cardio.
Got you. Got
Mhm.
you. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? What do you like to do with whatever spare time you might have?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a big sports fan. Baseball, basketball, football, obviously, soccer. So yeah, I'd love watching sports, going to sports games, things like that. I'm a fan of very bad teams. So the Mets and the Jets are my two like big teams that I follow, and they're terrible. Um, but yeah, so that's something that I enjoy. Um, I think another thing is I got an old beagle that hangs out with me. He's my dog. So but yeah, so
Nice.
going out, taking him on walks, doing stuff with him. Taking him to the dog park and things like that. Um, yeah, those are the two big things. And then I think those yeah, and I do enjoy my downtime playing getting on the game and playing video games and I think that was a way for me when I lived far away to still connect with my friends.
Oh yeah.
Even playing with them and being online. So yeah, I would say those are the major things that you'll kind of see me doing outside of wrestling.
Gotcha. What's your beagle's name?
Lucas,
Lucas.
yeah, yeah. So he was a rescue, so he came with that name, and we're like, yeah, if he answers to it, we'll keep it.
Hang on just a quick second.
Yeah.
I had to bring my girl over.
Look
This
at
is
her.
this is Lady.
Oh,
She
look at her. That's awesome.
yeah, she hangs out with me down here a lot when I'm doing these. So I just had to bring her over, knowing
Oh,
you're a
have
dog
to.
person.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
big dog person. Any animals, but yeah, I've always had dogs my whole life, so um, I've always kind of gravitated towards dogs. But yeah, that's awesome. See, yeah, my dog's the same way. When I'm working, he's just laying down, usually at my feet or somewhere that's either on my feet or gonna make me notice him. So yeah, but
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm a big
My
dog person.
my wife refers to Lady as my Velcro dog
Yeah,
because yeah, she's usually hanging out with me. So
yeah, that's awesome.
um,
See, there you go.
So, we're mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture, and
Mhm.
I'm always looking for recommendations. So, by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Um, so the last thing that I watched, I mean, I don't know if you've watched it at all, but the Stranger Things finished up. That was something that I was really into on Netflix. That was a great
Mm-hmm.
show for me. Um,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. And then listening to so I've never been a big podcast guy. Never done that, but music wise, big rap fan. So Drake's coming out with the album this week, so that's what I'll be listening to. But yeah, um, Stranger Things was I got to find something else to watch because I've kind of been looking for stuff. I'm a big like true crime like documentary person, so like
Oh,
anytime
yeah.
those are on Netflix, I'll just throw those on in the background of whatever, in the background of work or whatever I'm doing. So yeah, those are kind of the things that are like my like they're just kind of they're like my background shows or whatever. Like I don't have to focus and pay attention, things like that. But
Right.
yeah, I would say Stranger Things for sure was the last thing that I didn't watch it up until like the last season, so I like the whole time leading up to it as when I watched the whole series. So
Oh, yeah.
it was cool. It was good for me because I didn't have to wait like 2 years for a season or whatever.
Right.
I had it all at
Yeah.
once. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a true crime guy myself, and
mhm.
I've been following this case out in Idaho, the Idaho murders.
Yes, I saw they made one about that too. I'm pretty sure, right? They made
Yeah,
a yeah.
and a new book just came out about the case that
Mhm.
completely throws the narrative on its head.
Really?
Because I've always had my doubts that Brian Koberger's actually the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I if he did it, I don't think he did it alone.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, and there's this book out now called Broken Plea by
Okay.
a guy named Christopher Whitcomb, who is a retired FBI agent, and he basically analyzes the case top to bottom and blows all kinds of holes in the
Oh,
narrative.
okay.
It's
Cool.
it's a good read if you're
I'll have
into
to
that
check it
kind of
out.
thing.
Yeah, I
So
remember when that was like happening. He was like fleeing
yeah,
across the country and coming back to Pennsylvania or whatever. Um,
yeah,
he had the same car as my ex-girlfriend, so she was freaking
really,
out. She was gonna get pulled over in like a white because he had a white Hyundai Elantra or whatever, and that was what they were looking
yeah,
for. So she's like, "Oh my
yeah,
God, they're gonna keep pulling me over or whatever. They're gonna keep thinking I'm this
yeah.
person." But yeah, that was a crazy time. I
It
remember that
was.
that like when that happened, like yeah, it was. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because yeah, I could see how you have your doubts on some of this stuff for sure. So I'm interested
Yeah,
on kind of the holes
yeah,
he puts in it.
yeah. So outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Um, I think for me, my father's always been a big inspiration for me. He's been a football coach since I was born. Um, and I mean even before that obviously too, but he's in the Hall of Fame of New Jersey Coaches Association as a
Very
coach.
cool.
And then so I kind of always looked up to him and kind of like went to him with things of like seeing if I'm doing stuff right. I mean football and sports wise and things like that, because I think we just kind of had that connection. And then a couple years ago he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and seeing kind of his kind of will to just be able to like um, change what he was doing because he didn't really work out. He would walk the dogs or whatever. But big thing with Parkinson's is being active and to kind of slow down the effects. So he really started doing that this past year actually, like going every day and doing stuff. And there's this boxing that they have that is like specifically for people with Parkinson's that he goes to. So yeah, he's kind of really stuck to making that change, and better try to be be able to get around as long as he can, and to see me do stuff. And I think it's kind of both ways. Like he loves seeing me do stuff and wrestle and be able to perform now. So yeah, I think for sure that's definitely like my biggest inspiration and motivation is him.
Awesome,
Mhm.
awesome. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 1,000.
Hmm.
So, tell us about in ring sturdy Sal Mastretta and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Yeah, so I think the the version of me that I've been doing lately um, has been. I mean, I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, I have a love for football and sports and you know um, just that in general, and I think um, you turn that up to 15 or whatever, then that's where you're getting a airhead meathead jock that just excited to be there and performing or playing, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I always was. Like, I loved going to practice, I loved having games, and yeah, that was kind of me in a nutshell. I mean, I think I'm always been kind of an outgoing person, and was kind of always easy to make friends and very late, but also very laid back. And I think that's the biggest difference is I think in person I'm not going to be that animated or fired up, but I'm definitely a little more laid back and just kind of doing my own thing. But yeah, I think like you said, you kind of find like your passions and things like that, and that's definitely a huge passion of mine, and brought it out in the form of wrestling. But yeah.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice. So, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Tell us about the first one.
Yeah, so it is actually like I feel like it's a more unique story. So Eli Isom, who is also around the dojo a lot, trained by Cheese at the Ring of Honor. It was the Ring of Honor dojo then. It's been on Ring of Honor. He he kind of also helped a lot with training and things like that. Um, so he had this idea for Cheese's like YouTube show that he runs on the Worldwide Dojo YouTube channel. It's called Captured Lightning. Um, for my debut, for me to be just working out in the background of like 4 or 5 episodes. So like if you go around that time, like you just see a dude doing hang cleans in the corner or snatches in the corner or something, or in the background or something. That's me. And then the debut came when it was there's a wrestler over here at the dojo. His name's Jermaine. He had an open challenge. I got in the ring, um, took off my shirt, ripped away my tearaway pants, and I had a singlet on. And yeah, we wrestled, and it was only like a 3 minute match because they had this idea they want me to be undefeated. So for a little bit, so yeah, it was like it was I don't want it was like it was a short like dominating victory for me. So um, it was crazy, and it was like a Chris Hero seminar like not too long after that at the dojo, and
Mm-hmm.
um I was like, he was going over like you could send them in your match, and you could do it. And that was the only match I had, and I was like, I can't send this in. It's like a three minute match, but yeah. So that's kind of the background of it, and yeah. So and not even in front of a crowd, just kind of the Capture Lightning tapings are just in front of the rest of the dojo, and we're all around the ring. So it was cool to do that in front of people that I worked so hard to train with and things like that for sure.
Oh yeah, love me some Chris Hero too, man.
Yeah.
His tag team with Claudio was just
Oh,
awesome.
so great. And yeah, he was so cool. And then I was telling him like, oh, he was like asking, do I have any like mat footage? And I was like, no, like yeah, I only have this one match on YouTube that's like 3 minutes long. He's like, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't gonna send it to you. But yeah, we laughed about that. Yeah. He was great. He's come to the dojo a couple times. He's such a wealth of knowledge, obviously. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
absolutely. So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've developed some of these, but what would you say is your biggest wrestling related pet peeve?
My wrestling related pet peeve. Um, a big one, and this is kind of a hand-me-down one from Cheese. The it's such I mean, it's not I mean, it kind of is, but it's like when someone goes for a suplex and they block the suplex and they just put their leg there to block the suplex instead
Yeah.
of doing that. and instead of like actually like like when I do it, like you'll see me, I'll just like drop down to a knee and like grab their leg like I'm holding on for dear life. Like
Yeah.
that was something that kind of Cheese taught us in the beginning because he hates um the just stick your leg in there to block it. And I've kind of developed that same thing because it doesn't make sense. Like like
Right.
why if he's like you can just still get like what is that leg doing? But yeah, that's kind of the big one. That's kind of a hand me down one for me. Cheese also hates the Japanese arm drag, but I actually do enjoy it. So that's something that I do like. So, but yeah, the block and the suplex with the leg would be the one for me.
Gotcha. So, piggybacking off of the earlier question, what is your favorite match that you've been a part of, if you can narrow it down?
Yeah. So I think um I think for sure my favorite, like, and I think my best match too, um, is I had a match with Speedball. When was it? This was like my first year, like 36 or like 40th match, going into it, and he was awesome, obviously to work with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
they're the best, and after that it's just like I think with what like having that match, it was like a 20-minute match. Like that was my first time ever doing anything like that. Um, and I think that was such a big moment for me. And then I think obviously too, like, he Speedball's been so like generous after that. Like, if I he's someone that definitely influences me heavily in like how I think about putting matches together and things like that. Just since then, like he's been so instrumental in kind of my thought process and things like that. So, if I send him something or have a question for him, like I'll shoot him a text and he'll get back. I mean, he's busy now, but he'll get back to me eventually, and we'll kind of talk about it. And when I see him, I always got stuff to bring up with him. So, yeah, that's definitely I think my best match, and I would say like it's probably my favorite, like watching wise. Well, I think because I was so new and he was so great. Like, I mean, he's so great that like he kind of just put the whole thing together. I think I think match I'm really proud of is like me and Cheese at a promotion I was champion in Pennsylvania. Like, kind of we wrestled like my fifth match, and it was kind of the same thing where it's like Cheese kind of put the whole thing together because it's just like
right.
he's gonna do like he's the guy. I'm pretty new. Like I don't really but then like 2 years later we had another match, and it was awesome, and then like kind of made me feel like okay, like I'm an equal now, and that was like the first time Cheese like I mean, like I knew Cheese was proud of me, but Cheese said like, "Yeah, I'm proud of you. Like that was great. Like that was awesome to do that with you." So, and I remember he would always talk about the first time he heard that from Delirious. Like it was like it means a lot. So, that's something that I think that was 2 years ago maybe that I wrestled him
Yeah.
again. And it was cool to kind of instead of being like the new guy, like it was like okay, like we're kind of equals now, and like he let me get a
Yeah.
lot of input in of like how he like calling the match and things like that. So I was really proud of that. So I would say that's the match I'm most like proud of myself. But like my favorite match to watch of me, and the best match is totally a Speedball match for sure.
So the match with you and Speedball, is that out on YouTube or anything?
Yeah, it's actually on his YouTube. Yep.
Okay, I will.
block that
I'll have to later on send me a link to it because I
for
would love to
sure.
see it.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, it was
that's
awesome.
cool.
My family was there. I remember my mom like had like I mean my mom's a worry like person. Like she's
Well,
very yeah,
that's what moms
are.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I mean after like 4 minutes she's like covering her eyes, and then she's like I couldn't do it. He was just kicking you in the face so much. I'm like, Mom, it was okay. Like I'm all right. Like, like you could literally see her on the video going like this. Like I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god. But yeah, so that was a cool experience too to have my family there. It was at the dojo because it was like Speedball used to run. Speedball sometimes does still, but these fightertainment shows out a brewery in Pennsylvania, and he wanted to do a show with a ring. So yeah, she's used the dojo. So that's kind of how I got put on the show, and I was the champion of the dojo at the time. So all of a sudden, Speedball posts a graphic of it's me versus him, and I like message Cheese. I'm like,
Wow.
yo, is this for real? Like, did you know about this? He's like, no, I had no idea, but he's like, it's real, I guess. I'm like, okay, and I don't know if he knew. I have a feeling he knew the whole time, but yeah, that was
Probably.
kind of a cool experience for me, also.
No doubt, no doubt. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? Is there a match that's just near and dear to your heart that you find yourself kind of circling back to? Do you have such a match?
Um, I think that match for me would probably be, especially with the kind of, I think there's a couple actually. I think the first one is the X Division triple threat with Styles, Daniels, and Joe. I think that's awesome. Um, Another match that I love, like more recent one, is Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks in the cage. I thought that was
Oh yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and especially now that I'm doing like tag wrestling, like that was so awesome. And then let me think. I could definitely get one more, but I think probably yeah. The first Kenny Okada was really like a big deal. Like when it happened,
Oh
like
yeah.
people were going nuts, and I remember like it can't be that good. Like whatever. Like and then I remember I like watched it. I'm like this. Yeah, all right, I get it now. Like this is ridiculous. So I think those are probably like the three like thinking on the spot that I could come up with for sure. That are the ones that I kind of look as like my favorites.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So, piggybacking onto that question, do you have a favorite promo as a fan?
Favorite promo. Um, Honestly,
Steiner Mouth's always good.
yes, Steiner Math is good. I think anything that Scott Steiner did in TNA, like that
Yeah.
whole him and Bully Ray thing was just
Oh yeah.
hilarious. Like I was like, I mean, I didn't really understand it at the time when I was watching it, but like
Yeah.
now I go back and see it, I'm like, this was just comedy. Like these guys are awesome. So anything like that for sure. Um, I mean, it's all gonna be probably funny ones, but the Jay Lethal Ric Flair woo off is
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
day
mean
one.
that promo I actually pulled that up on YouTube about once a month just to have a good laugh.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it never gets old. I
It's
mean
great. Yeah, it's so cool. And I was like this. I mean, I don't even like the fact that I know now that it's like they just like did it. Like they're just doing that. I'm like, all right, that's great. Like that's so good. Um,
Yep.
and I'm trying to think of like a more. I think one that was like crazy to me that I remember was when Roman beat Taker at Mania and he did "This is my yard now," and
Oh
then
yeah.
just walked off. I thought that was sick. Like I was like, I
Yeah.
know everyone's mad, but that was pretty awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are probably the ones that like I kind of I could think of.
Yeah. So this is one of these questions that can literally, the answer can change literally almost minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day.
Mhm.
But at this very moment, in your opinion, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? Who's the best man and who's the best woman right this moment?
That's a great question. Um, I think you're gonna find it hard to argue like any valid points, like especially nowadays, like against Osprey, like as the best
Yeah.
the male wrestler in the world. I think I could understand where people got with like the flippy stuff. I liked it back in the day, but now he's just so much more too. Like he's so complete.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think for sure he's probably. I mean, he's definitely. If he's not number one, he's up there. But
Yeah,
that's
for
the first
sure.
one that comes to mind. Um, and the best female, I think. I think. I mean, I haven't been watching lately, so I'm not too sure what she's up to. But I always thought like, yeah, Charlotte's pretty like great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was a run where she was always winning the belt. I remember, and people were like, oh, "Why does she keep winning the belt?" And I'm like, "Well, she's pretty. Like, she's awesome. I think that's why. Like, in ring, she's so good. So I think, for sure, she's up there as well. I think Mercedes is up there. Bailey, like, I think all of them are up there. But yeah, those are probably the two that I would say right now that are probably the best for male and female.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, this run that Osprey is on in AEW, man,
Mhm.
they've let the guy talk. And
Mhm.
you know, he's proven to be as good a talker as he is a worker. And
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is just gold. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's like I think it's hard to argue at this point. Like, yeah, this
yeah,
dude's not if
he's
not the best
head and
there, but
shoulders above
yeah,
anybody.
it's definitely hard to argue now, like especially because yeah, I remember he was so divisive, like the him and Ricochet match, like. But now it's like, all right, like we can kind of move past that. Like he's such a complete wrestler now. So
Yeah, yeah. You know, a match that I would love to see. I don't know actually if it ever happened on the Indies,
mhm.
but I would love to see Osprey and Rollins have a
Oh
match.
yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I wonder if that ever did happen. I feel like maybe Rollins was like probably getting close to WWE when Osprey was starting, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if they've ever tangled, but that would be an awesome match.
yeah.
Man,
Rollins is another guy too that's up there. Like it's hard to argue at this point, like that he's not one of the best at what he like in the world. Like
yeah,
so, I think that both of them
yeah,
are two great shout outs for that.
yeah. Well, you know, since you're a tag team guy, who's the best tag team right now?
The best tag team right now. Um,
There's a
just because
lot. There's a lot.
yeah, and I think the team that like I mean because I see them live all the time, but Bustin' the Brain like Jordan and Alec like I mean they are like they go nuts. Like I don't even know how they're thinking of some of the stuff that they come up with. And now, I'm so happy for them that they got their opportunity now and they're doing stuff on Ring of Honor and and doing AEW. So I was like right before they got signed, I was like, yeah, like these guys like might be the best tag team in the world. Like even before like like they got signed and I'm like it was like right before. I'm like I forgot what match they had where I was like, yeah, all right, this is getting it was against Sinner and Saint. That's who it was. And I was like,
Oh
all right,
yeah,
yeah, this is like I mean, they're two great teams, but I'm like, Jordan and Alex have been like an insane run. Like this is insane. So I think they're up there for sure. And then I think, I think the Young Bucks too, like I think they're
yeah,
always like gonna be up there. And I think they're
yeah,
another one of those people that like, all right, it's getting hard to argue now that they're not one of the best tag teams in the world. Like, if
yeah.
you even if you don't like the super kicks or whatever, but the way
Right.
they
I mean,
like
they catch a lot of flack,
yeah.
and I don't think a lot of it is deserved.
No, I
But
don't think so at
but it
all. And I
is
think
it is what it is. You know.
yeah, and I think they don't care obviously, but like
No.
I think it's just their mind for it is so different. Like I think, some of the stuff that they've come up with throughout the years, like just with tag wrestling, like spots and things like that, and unique
Oh
ways to
yeah.
do things. Like it's insane how kind of innovative they are. But yeah, that's kind of those are the two that I would say.
Yeah.
Sure, I think.
You know, speaking of tag teams, I was just so devastated to see the Motor City Machine Guns get released.
Oh yeah, I mean they were like I remember them in TNA and
Yeah.
they were awesome. And but hopefully they'll get back out there and I mean
Yeah.
I know they will. Like they're gonna kill it wherever they go. So
Oh,
they
no
always
doubt.
have,
No
they always
doubt.
will. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it sucks and but it
Yeah.
definitely I'm excited for some of the matchups that we could see though too, like coming
Oh,
out.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the New Day being out there now as well.
Yep.
You know,
Yep, exactly.
there can definitely be some interesting matchups.
Yep, there's endless
So,
possibilities.
oh, no doubt. So, and this can be past or present. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would you love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
Yeah, I think like my all time. I think because like he's probably my favorite all time. I think it would be AJ, obviously. Like I think he's the guy that kind of got me back into wrestling, and he was the guy that I liked when I was a kid too, in TNA. And then when I started getting into New Japan things and watching back stuff, I think he's definitely someone that would be a dream match for me. Probably the dream match for me would be that. Um, And I think, in the shorter term, like on the indies, I think there's a lot of guys that I would love to wrestle, like Manders, KJ Orso, like a bunch of those guys that I would love to get in the ring with. Joey Janela is one that I would love to wrestle. Like, there's so many people that I got on I don't have a list, but that I got in my mind that like we would have an awesome match and things like that. So, yeah, there's definitely some that I could get excited for about in the short term. Um, there's some that I had, like that speedball one would have been one for me for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's there. I mean, who knows? You know, it's a wrestling retirement, so we never know. But AJ is probably the one, like past or present, that I would choose as the one.
Yep, yep. Looking over at the Instagram chat, we've got a few people filtering through. We've had JJ Man 777, QP Pro 999, and actually a local indie wrestler down here in the Georgia area, Aaron Dallas,
Okay, awesome.
is hanging out with us.
Gotcha.
So what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing?
Uh-huh.
And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do, and that can be giving or receiving?
Yeah. Um, so the I think I do I do a lot of like I don't know like I started doing the cop killer because like Homicide is one of my favorites. I actually got to be in a ring with him too, which was awesome.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so like yeah, that was great. But so I started doing that. My finisher I enjoy, but I think there's few better feelings in the world of like hitting a really good spear and feeling really good about it. So I would say that's probably my favorite. And like it's always like the ways to get into it are endless. And I feel like a lot of people do a spear now, but I feel like I do have one of the better ones. So that's definitely something that I enjoy. I think it's probably my favorite. My least favorite thing to take would probably be a mm, a back body drop from someone that's tall. I think
Yeah.
anyone like I mean I'm not you know I was never a great basketball player, so my hops are you know they're not the best as a 5'6" Italian man, but that's always been something. I mean, I'll do it. I've taken it before, and I really don't mind. I'm not gonna say no to it, but if I had to pick one, then I'm like, if I didn't have to take this ever again, I would. If I pick this, I don't take it ever again. It would be that. I think that's the back body drop. Um, yeah, I think that's probably it for sure.
So, a move that is not in your current move set, but if you could snap your fingers and suddenly be able to do perfectly, what
Hmm.
move would that be?
Hmm. Something off the top rope for sure. Because I don't do
Like
it.
a shooting star press or
Yeah,
a
something like
moonsault or
crazy.
something?
I've
Yeah,
tried. I've practiced like multiple occasions to do a 450, and I think I could do it, but I just don't know if I would trust myself doing it to someone.
yeah.
So it'd have to be like the Kurt Angle thing, where like I go for a moonsault every time and I miss, but I never hit it. But yeah, probably like yeah, shooting star would be awesome if I could like just one day like be like yeah, I could just do a shooting star press, like that would be sick. I think that's probably the one that I'll go with.
Gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha. So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you, what hurts right now?
Um, I mean, I think, as a wrestler, like I'm always sore. I've been
Yeah,
thankful though, like, I've been lucky and knock on wood, like, um, been good. Really haven't had any major injuries or anything like that.
that's
Just,
good.
just some nicks, some stuff that sucks, but um, yeah, right now I'm feeling good. I think a big part of that is also just like, staying moving and, especially with the muscular stuff, you know what I mean? So
Oh
yeah, I
yeah,
don't feel too bad right now, which, sometimes I'll wake up, my neck will be a little stiff and I'm like, oh, but today was all good. And yeah.
that's good. That's good. So, in the 3 years that you've been doing this, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Hmm. Worst bump. Um, honestly, don't know. Like, I don't think I've taken anything like too crazy. I mean, I've taken like a suplex on the floor, and that sucked. But like, it wasn't like awful. Like, I'm gonna like quit. Like that, but that was
Yeah.
not fun, obviously. But
No.
like, yeah, that was probably the worst bump that like that's the one I remember. I'm like, yeah, that kind of was not fun. For sure. I'd actually say like I've been like more strikes. Like I feel like I get, you can get caught in, no malice with anything or whatsoever. At least I hope not. But there was one time where like took like a black mass from someone and it rocked me a little bit, not to like unconscious, but I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I
you knew
think,
you'd been hit.
yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, yeah. I think the thought was like I was supposed to like rebound off the ropes after, and I'm like, no, I'm going right down. That I felt that one. But yeah, so and it was my friend, so I knew they didn't
Yeah.
mean anything by it. But yeah, so I would say definitely the suplex is like the bump that I was like, yeah, that was not fun. But I mean, I would do it again. Like it's if it called for it, I would do it again for sure. But yeah.
Gotcha. So, knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I would give myself is to just, be, present in the moment. And I think, you know, I was a big, I got a lot of anxiety and things like that and worry about a lot of things. And I think, a lot of my childhood and teenage years, obviously, like, you get in your head about stuff and you start thinking about the future and things like that and the past. And I think, um, I think that's what I would tell myself. Just enjoy where you're at, and yeah, you'll like where you end up. So I think that's kind of what um, the big advice, and that's what I try to make a point every day. I kind of doing that and just being present in where I'm at and enjoying where I'm at, because it takes a lot of hard work to even get to where and to anywhere in this business at anything. So yeah, it's enjoy what you have and what's going on around you.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, do you have any pre show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Usually, um, no, not really. I think I never really had like I'm not a big superstitious person like with that
Hmm.
stuff. Um, I mean, I'm always gonna have some sort of energy drink before, which is probably bad for me, but it's what I do.
Yeah.
And then besides that, the only thing like really before the curtain is kind of I'll just like start slapping like my body. So I'm not a slap. If I'm feeling like all right, I gotta wake up, like I'll give myself a smack in the face or whatever. But that's really it. Like just get a little fired up and get out there and get ready to go. But yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary. I mean, maybe slapping yourself in the face is a little out of the ordinary, but like,
Oh,
yeah,
you,
nothing like I don't got like a lucky rock that I rub or nothing like that. Which maybe I should get something like that, but that would be cool if I just brought something around. But yeah.
yeah. So, just kind of a quick rundown of your gear bag. What all do you carry in your gear, and do you carry anything unique or unusual?
Yeah, so I think I definitely do. I mean, I carry that football around all the time, uh, so I'm always have that with me, and it's been great because it's like now when I'm bored or like before a show, I'm just gonna have a catch with someone. Like I don't like someone will
Yeah.
want to have a catch, so that's something good to have that I started bringing around when we started doing the state champ stuff, and that's definitely I think it's unique. I mean, I don't see anyone else with the football, but yeah, that's probably the big unique thing. And then besides that, gear, boots. Tape. I'm notorious for wearing a lot of tape. So when I ask people, they get mad at me if I forget. So I have to bring my own. And then besides that, what else is there? Spray bottle. I like to make sure my hair's wet for whatever. I like how my hair looks wet when I go out to wrestle. Um, yeah, that's really it. And then got the merch bag too. So Those are kind of the essentials, and my state champs jacket as well. So
Oh yeah,
the
gotta have
essentials
that.
going into the show. Yep.
Yep. So, do you have a favorite venue to wrestle in? Is there a venue that's sort of near and dear to your heart, or are they all kind of the same to you?
I think there's one that stands out to me, and I think that's um, shout out to Power Pro Lucha. They're in Philly, like doing awesome stuff. We got a show May 30th, and I think the venue that they're on in Philly, it's actually like the U.S. national squash team's like practice center, and it's crazy. Like if you look up like clips on like IWTV or YouTube, like they got these big screens in the background, and there's like a balcony where some people hang out, and there's one where like after our match, all the wrestlers will go and watch the show, and then on the other side, there's like media and like the music guys on the other side, and then just having the fans like all around the ring, and there's like a big stairway up to the entranceway, which is always like cool, like running up the stairs with David, and yeah, so I think that's definitely the biggest one for me that stands out. And yeah, I mean, we're actually having our first show outside of that venue on May 30th, so we'll be in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. But we'll be back there for all the big stuff like the trios tournament and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely the venue that kind of sticks out. And I remember when I first got there, I'm like, this place is nuts. I don't know how we got it or how we've been able to keep it, but we've kept it, and it's great. It's a great place.
Nice, nice. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest ask a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So one of my previous guests, a wrestler based in Florida by the name of Sammy Pandora,
Okay.
and the question that she posed is, if wrestling ended for you today, what would you do?
What would I do? I'd be very upset. I'd be sad. It's something that I feel like I love, and it's something that I enjoy doing. I think I would have to try to find some sort of other outlet to do something. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like we talked about before, like, I got a shoot job, like I got other stuff that I got to take care of. But yeah, wrestling's really important part of my life. So I think, it would definitely be a hard pill to swallow for sure. And I'd probably try to find something to do, some other outlet of some sort to do something, and just kind of get away from the normal everyday kind of struggle.
Gotcha, gotcha. We actually had a question come in from YouTube. Me 28 asked, "What routine should I do as an aspiring pro wrestler? I usually lock in strength training, but barely much cardio. But due to my frame, I'm quite blessed with cardio. What routine would you recommend?"
Lucky you. I mean, some people just have it, and I was not one of those people. But a good routine, I think. I think at least try to get like 30 minutes of like even just like incline walking if you can, like after whatever you do, like after your lift or after anything like that. Like it doesn't have to be like crazy high intensity. But then I think one day in there should be kind of like a cardio focused like hit like day of like, yeah, you're gonna try to really blow yourself up. like whatever you're doing. Assault bike's a great one where you could do kind of like on for 20 seconds and then you're off for 10 seconds and then you keep doing that. What else is there? That's a big one. I think anytime you could do like sprints, if you have an area where you could do sprints, or like you have a field by your house, sprints are always helpful. And kind of like I said, like, pacing it out, finding a good routine. One that we used to do was like run a certain amount of yards, 20-second break, go again, and then it'll kind of get longer and longer and longer. And the breaks would get shorter and shorter. That's kind of a good one. And yeah, so I would say those are probably the biggest ones just from like a cardio standpoint that I found helpful to me. The assault bike one has definitely been a good one because it's at the gym. I can do that whenever. So yeah, I usually do like I'll do 20 seconds on and then 10 seconds off. and do that 8 times. Um,
Hmm.
and I'll try to do that twice. Like like that'll be like I do one and then try to go again and go just max effort. Try to get the RPMs up, whatever you can. And yeah, you'll be it'll definitely test you for sure. Like I mean, there's no way you're not gonna get like blown up from it. So yeah,
Right, right.
and I think also
So,
yeah, I mean, wrestling too. Oh, sorry, but another thing is just
no,
like
go ahead.
in ring is like a little bit different than outside cardio. So you get in the ring and run the ropes,
Hmm.
bag drill, anything like that. Do triple fives. I think anything like that. Um, so triple fives is like you do five. We do like 5 whips, 5 drop, and then like so T people go. So we'll do 5 whips switch, and then 5 drop down leapfrog switch, and then 5 up and overs in the corner switch, or like the bag drills. Like there's a big sandbag in the middle. So you hit the ropes, drop down, jump over, plancha, hit the other ropes, same thing, and then so it's like pretty much 4 burpees. I guess is 1 rep. So you do that. Try to do that like first start off as many as you can. We usually do 10, and it's a struggle to get to 10 because after like 5, it's like this sucks. Like I don't want to do this anymore. There's always a
Yeah.
wall at like 5 for me. So yeah, those are also good kind of things to do. I would say also for like in ring cardio and things like that.
Got you. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question you would like to ask the next guest?
Yeah, let me think of something good. I might not even
Okay.
want to think of anything wrestling related.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, let me think. Hmm.
Well, if you can't come up with something, you can always DM me.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll do that. But I think I want to ask the person.
Okay.
Um, I think I want to ask them kind of along the lines of what you asked me before. I want to know the last album that they listened to in entirety, like start to finish. That'll be my question for them. What is the last music album they listened to start to finish?
Nice.
Hmm.
How would you answer that?
What was the last album that I listened to? Oh man, now I put myself on the spot because I don't even remember. Oh, J. Cole's album recently is probably the last one that I listened to, start to finish.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So, during his farewell tour, John Cena kept emphasizing the concept of leaving wrestling better than he found it.
Mhm.
And, that really resounded with me, so I've kind of incorporated that into my repertoire of questions.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing to try to leave wrestling better than you found it?
Yeah, I think for me it's just, treat everyone like that I meet with like respect and, just be a good person. Like, just don't be a jerk. I think, I've never had that problem in my life, but you hear stories of things and everything like that, and wrestling is for everyone and should be all inclusive to anyone that wants to be a part of it. As a fan, as a wrestler, as a ref, as a manager, whatever they want to do, they should have that opportunity. So I think that's a big thing for me, and I feel like even since when I've been in wrestling in the scene up here, it is so good to see like the diversity in the wrestlers and people involved in wrestling in this area. And I think that's something for sure that I always will preach and always will stand by is that it should be for everyone and there shouldn't be any kind of gatekeeping of anything. That yeah, so I think that's the big thing for me. Not anything in ring, but I think just about the business in general. And like I said, I think you know, I at least in the Northeast, like I could speak on, is it's definitely such a diverse group of people that we have out here. So it's awesome.
Awesome. So we're pretty much at the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yeah. So this Saturday, David and I, if you find yourself in Worcester, Massachusetts, for whatever reason that might be, we're gonna be at Restivus, the show, the kind of collective of shows that Beyond is putting on. We'll be working for BST at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, excuse me, Saturday, wrestling in the tag championship match. I mentioned the Power Pro Lucha. I mean, not July 30th, May 30th is the next show in Albertus, Pennsylvania. And then, we got a July show coming up. And then in the fall, we'll get to the 3-day 16-team trios tournament, which is going to be awesome. So just keep following along with that. And then, I think anything, I got Jersey Championship Wrestling, kind of GCW's sister promotion. They're having a show, what is it, June 15th, I think? Whatever that Saturday is of that week. And then, anything GCW related, I'm going to try to get out there too and try to wrestle on. So you might see me pop up at some places. That's pretty much what I got right now, trying to get back out to California as well. So look out for that also. Hood Slam, I want to come back there. So just look out look out on socials for me in your area for sure.
Nice. As far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, this Friday, May the 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got episode 228, and our guest is a wrestler based in roughly the Baltimore area, Lemon Guy. And then on Monday the 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific Time, we've got episode 229, and our guest is a wrestler based in the Los Angeles area of California. He is also the owner of Millennium Pro Wrestling out there in LA, Danny Devine. I've actually had interactions with this guy before, and man, the dude is amazing. So this is definitely going to be an episode not to miss. Having the opportunity to have him back on the show and kind of pick his brain some more is just going to be an absolute thrill. And man, Sal, I've got to thank you for your time. This has been such a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a great time. I also want to shout out Lemon Guy. I do know Lemon Guy. He's awesome. So you'll have a great time with him also. But yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. It was a pleasure for sure.
Absolutely. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we have going here, definitely do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until Friday night at 7 p.m. with Lemon Guy, be good to each other.